Good morning.
Hey, everybody. We are back. It is another Wednesday, which means it is Boss Up and List Day. Again, I can't see with these things on, but real quick, guys, seriously. So our guest today is Allison. She's not quite ready yet. She's not here yet because she has twins that she had to drop off at school, but she should be joining us any minute. But seriously, she sent us these amazing velour tracksuits, and I don't know what's happening here, but apparently mine, I don't know if mine's meant to be like this short on the arms, but yours seem pretty normal.
Listen, this is the first time I've fit into a size small anything ever.
I gotta take these off. Oh wait, but seriously, like, check it out.
I'm not wearing the pants.
Check it out. It's pretty good.
My big butt is not getting into these pants.
Anyway, so we got sweet tracksuits on right now, and
it's only 100 degrees in Vegas. But yeah, thank you, Miss Alaska, sending us velour tracksuits.
I'm gonna keep. You gotta keep it on because she's not here yet. Okay. She's gotta at least be able to see.
She's off my Christmas card list. Is all I'm
saying.
saying.
Fox says there's nothing normal about any of this. You are correct. Okay, you are correct.
I can tell you that before I met Katie, you would not have caught me dead in something like this, even for humor purposes. So
I am a pretty bad influence, you know, and it is like 1,000,000 degrees here. We have central air, but it is a little toasty right now. So the second Allison does get on here and she can see us in all of our tracksuit glory, I'm going to be taking at least the jacket off because it is a little toasty.
Donna is watching from Scotland.
Hey, hello in Scotland. What time is it in Scotland right now?
Mine does kind of match my hair, Melissa.
Because
she was well thought. It was a well thought out pick,
right? I know. I think mine's pretty awesome. Indeed. Yeah, so we're wearing our tracksuits. Allison's coming soon. We're going to talk all about what it's like to be a seller in Alaska.
That's based on exciting.
Based on the stuff that she sells, I'm like, I feel like we need to go to Alaska for a sourcing trip. We need to
source in Alaska.
Yeah, because she finds some really awesome stuff. But anyway, so I wanted to talk about a couple things off the top here. So like I said, this is the Boss Up and List live show, which goes along with the Boss Up and List virtual listing party that we do every Wednesday, all day in the Boss Facebook group.
List.
Exactly, lots of listings. So if you are not in the Boss Face Up group,
yeah, no,
that's not a real thing. That's not a real thing, guys. If you are not in the Boss Facebook group, please, the link is down below in the description of this video. You should be in that group. It's really fun. We're all about motivating each other to be better sellers. And we do this virtual listing party every Wednesday, all day. I put up a thread early in the morning. People check in. You can set your goals, let people know how you've done throughout the day. And then, of course, we do this hour-long live show every Wednesday at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So, again, thank you guys for coming. First things first, I want to ask you guys, who has signed up for the Shine Awards? Who put in an application for the Shine Awards? You did?
I did.
She did? You did?
I did.
See, Vikki did. She's got hers done.
Why not?
Today is the 9th, which means that you have only like about a day and a half left. You have to get your application in by midnight, basically by 11:59 Pacific Standard Time tomorrow night. So you got tonight to work on it, and then you've got all day tomorrow to work on it. But you need to get your application in if you want to try and win. Again, 15 finalists. They pick 15 finalists, guys. And all of those finalists get to
They will be announced, I believe, on the 22nd, I read.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Finalists. Or they'll start announcing them around that time. It says.
Well, here's the thing.
It says you'll hear by the 22nd, I guess.
So, yeah, they don't announce it first. Here's the thing. They tell you, so you have until the 10th tomorrow to get your application in. Then they will contact you if you're a finalist within a couple of weeks. So it sounds like by the 22nd. But here's the thing. Once you're a finalist, you can't tell anybody about it. And then they don't announce the finalists. Yeah, well, I mean, they don't make you sign anything, but they tell you not to tell anyone.
Okay.
And then in the beginning of July, I think it's like July 2nd or something like that, when they open the voting process, that's when they let everybody know who the finalists are. Because in the meantime, they have to do a photo shoot. They send somebody out to your house to do a photo shoot, which is really fun. And they send somebody out to do a whole video shoot.
I'm ready for my close-up, Mr. No, sorry. Maryland people will get that one.
Anyway, they sent somebody out to do a video shoot, and you get a whole video done. Like, I don't know if you've seen the one that I did. That was super fun. So there's a whole process. So they make you wait for like over a month before you're really supposed to be telling people, because they want to release all the information all at once. But anyway,
I have a hard time keeping stuff in.
Well, you're gonna have to. Not that
I think I'm gonna. She's decided
she's already a finalist. But let me tell you, when I applied, I decided I was already a finalist, because that's kind of like the way I like to approach things.
Thank you, Corduroy Fox.
I just assume somebody's ringing her doorbell.
Somebody's at the door.
Why don't you go check?
Excuse me.
Go beat the dogs a little bit. Anyway, so she's gonna go check the door. It's probably a delivery. They like to ring our doorbell. Now the dogs are freaking out. But anyway, if you have not submitted your Shine application, I don't know what you're waiting for. Okay, guys, it's free, and best case scenario, you get to go to Vegas and hang out with us. Free trip, free plane ride, free hotel room, all kinds of great, awesome perks and experiences while you're there. So let's do it. Let's see. Do I have anybody in here who's actually done it? I'm not seeing anybody that's saying that they submitted it. What's the deal? Come on. Anybody? All right, I'm going to quit bugging you guys now. But anyway, please, tomorrow, midnight, you need to be submitting your Shine Award application. If you have any questions about it, feel free to contact me. What's happening?
I'm trying to re-zip my thing. I didn't want to answer the door with this thing on. Come on now.
She literally unzipped it so that the person at the door who's delivering a package,
I didn't know that's what it was.
Wouldn't be like, oh my goodness, I can't believe this woman is wearing a purple jacket. You aren't even wearing the whole suit.
But I'm wearing it with
shorts. I would have answered the door with the entire suit on.
Because that's you. Oh, and I wanted to say the hardest thing about the Shine Awards is that you are limited to what you can. There's a limited amount of characters in the categories, and I am a very wordy person. So that, for me, that was the most difficult part.
It's true.
So at least I tried. I don't know that I have anything particularly exciting to offer as far as a Shine Award winner, but why not?
Whatever. Everybody has a good story.
To enter.
Dynasty says that she's lazy and didn't want to write an essay today.
Listen, it's way shorter than college essays, Dynasty. Get in there.
College essays don't win you $5,000 or $10,000.
VIP treatment for you +1.
It's not that much writing you have to do. Give me a break. All right, so
I know Katie did it. I don't know how. I didn't know her then, so I don't really know what her application looked like, but clearly it was a good one.
Apparently, they picked her. They picked me. Okay, so the other thing I wanted to talk to you guys about, Corduroy Fox, wordy. I mean, Katie, yes, it's true. I am wordy. Although when I write, I'm not so much. I hate to write. I'm good at it, but I don't really like it.
I love to write.
Is it essays only? It's not. I mean, it's basically.
It's not really even essay.
Yeah, there's like 3 or 4 different sections, and you're limited in how many words you
can. Like 2,500 characters. So I mean, you can't even use, appropriate paragraphs. So, and you got to do single space if you want to get enough words in anyway, like I did. So, I thought it wasn't that difficult.
It's broken up into like 4 different sections. So really it's not, you're not writing a full on paper or anything like that. So, all right. Dynasty says I convinced her that it's not that hard and you're going to potentially win tons of money. So come on. Anyway, so the next thing I wanted to talk to you guys about, I wanted to ask this question. Okay, so when you have a store, or even when you don't have a store, you have a limit of free listings that you can do per month. So with a basic store, that's like $250, right? With a premium, it's $1,000. With an anchor store, it's $10,000. The starter, I believe, is it $100 or $50? Anyway, whatever. You have a certain number of free listings that you get with whatever store level you're at. So my question to you guys is, when you hit that limit, like let's say you have a basic store and you hit 250 listings for the month, do you stop or do you keep listing and pay the extra fee for each listing? Because I know there's some people out there who will list till they get to their limit of free listings and then they just stop and wait till they get more free listings or wait for some sort of promotion that's giving them more free listings. And how do you feel about that?
Don't limit yourself based on a 10-cent listing fee or whatever it may be. For a premium store, I can only speak for myself. I have a premium store, right? So I get 1,000 free listings a month.
How many do you actually list?
I have 2,200 in my store right now, and I sell about 200 to 300 items depending on the month every month. So that means that I'm paying for 1,200 to 1,500 listings at 10 cents a listing.
Right.
And that's okay, because if I'm not listing, I'm not selling. So why would I stop?
Right.
10 cents a listing to sell something, even if you're selling something inexpensive, $15, $20, which I try not to do that little, but if you're selling something for $15 or $20 and it costs you 10 cents, you're still making a profit. So why limit yourself?
Yeah.
I'm not at the point yet where it makes sense for me to have an anchor store. I check it every few months just to see. I pay about between $800 and $1,000 a month in fees on eBay. But that's final value fees. That's my listing fees. That's my promoted listing fees. That's, now it's return shipping fees. All that kind of stuff is factored in.
Right.
So, you got to spend money to make money. And it's still a heck of a lot cheaper than you having an actual physical store somewhere.
I mean, anchor stores, you get 10,000 listings, but it's quite a jump in price. Right now, because I was a Shine winner, another reason to apply for the Shine Awards, I have a free anchor store for a full year because of that. So I have 10,000 listings, which I never do all of them because I have about 1,600 listings in my store right now. So I'm never going to come even close to that. But before I had the anchor store, I did a premium store as well. So I had 1,000 listings a month, but I would always probably, between selling listings and putting up new listings, maybe I did about probably like about 1,800 listings a month. So I was paying the $60 a month for my premium store. And then I was spending an extra, at least like $80 for all the extra listings. But let me tell you, it is a numbers game. So that's the deal. All right. Looks like we have Alison here. Woohoo! I don't know if she can hear us. She might not have headphones. She's working on it. She's working on it.
Okay. Hey. We can see you.
Hey.
How's it going? So you're in Alaska, but it looks like you got the Canadian flag behind you. What's going on, trader?
I am a Canadian in Alaska. I'm an expat. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. We actually really like Canadians, so that's good.
Okay. My whole family's Canadian, so we're good.
All right. Well, I'm glad. I don't want to fight. You know me.
Who can fight with Canadians? You are literally the nicest people I've ever met. Are Canadian people. And I have a lot of friends that are from Canada, and I swear they're some of the nicest people I've ever met.
Yeah. Her family's from Canada. I actually have Canadians on my mom's side of the family.
Yeah,
as well,
my family is like first generation Canadian. Like my brother and I, my parents are both from Canada. My grandparents, aunts, uncles, great aunts, uncles, cousins, all that stuff. So
yeah, I think we're like third or fourth. So, and then my nephew, his dad is Canadian, so he wasn't born in Canada, so I don't think he gets to say he's like Canadian, but
Yeah, I'm a permanent resident now. I originally came here on a work visa, and I decided because there's certain things that you cannot get as on a work visa, as far as you don't have the right to vote. And up in Alaska, we have a PFD. It's called. It's a permanent fund dividend. So every October, each and every Alaskan gets a stipend. So, and it can range anywhere from it's usually about $1,500 up to $2,500. So
see, we need
it's a nice bonus just for living in Alaska. Hey,
yeah. So I haven't been able to take part in it for the last 10 years, but this year I think I will. But you do get taxed on it, so it's not free money.
Yeah.
Well, it is free money, I suppose.
Well, it's free money. You just pay taxes on it. That's all right.
Do you see what we're wearing right now?
Yeah, it's pretty sweet. I was actually watching in the car. Well, I wasn't watching the car, I was listening in the car. And you had said that it's way hot, but
it is pretty hot. Now that you have,
but I'm wearing mine too.
See, yours is a sweet Adidas one.
This is my dad's.
I love it. All right, I gotta take this thing. Hold on a second.
Ahead.
I'm not gonna be able to hear anything. Ooh, it's hot. Yeah, it's supposed to hit like 101 degrees here today in Vegas, so it's pretty toasty. Whew.
All right, much better.
All right, so yeah, we were just talking about listing beyond what your free listings are. What size store do you have?
I have the medium store. I guess, is it 500?
The premium?
Oh, 500 is.
Yeah, so you should have 1,000 listings a month.
I have 1,000 listings. Not that I list 1,000, but I seem to. Well, you have to realize that when you relist things, that counts as a listing and things like that. But I don't come close.
Yeah,
a lot of times, but.
Yeah, I was just we were talking about telling people that they need to keep listing past those limits and paying for the extra listings. There's no reason to stop.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so you are how long have you been in Alaska now?
For 10 years.
All right.
Wow. Yeah,
awesome.
actually, since 11, 2000. Yeah, I came up 2007. I came up for love. It didn't work out, and that's okay. But I decided to stay other things come along, and now
Yeah.
I'm my partner Casey. She's 14 years my junior, and has 4 kids. So we raise them together, and like I mentioned, one's girl, she's 16. I have a 10-year-old boy, and then 2 5-year-old twins. So.
Well, you know, she's pretty much like robbing the cradle here because I'm like way, way, way younger.
4 years and 2 months younger. Yes, I'm robbing the cradle. The biggest thing is that she's not 40 yet. That's why I hate her.
So she hates me. But yeah, I mean, I moved here for love, so it's working out so far. We're doing all right.
Yeah, she's not homeless yet, so.
I'm not homeless yet. But hey, everybody. So this is Alison. How do you pronounce your last name? Is it Arnot or Arnot?
Arnot.
Arnot.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's Alison Arnot. You may have seen her in the chat. She's Big Drift Thrift. And so she's on here today with us. And
she's very funny.
She is.
You know,
where in Canada were you from?
I was born and raised in Ontario, Kitchener, which is near Toronto. My mom is still there. And when I was in university in '88, I went out to Lake Louise to work for the summer, and I fell in love with it. That's in Alberta. So I basically finished up I was an English major with a minor in consumer studies. So I dropped my minor, I finished with my English degree, and I moved. I went right out west. So I stayed and then I lived in Banff and worked there for 20 years.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, I loved it. So just a waitress and skied, and then ended up buying a house and having a B&B, a lot of things. So a lot of stuff has come and gone over the years, but it's pretty cool because I don't know. I never imagined I'd be in Alaska ever.
You know, I never would have imagined that I'd live in Vegas. So I hear you.
So for 38 years, she never left the Pacific Northwest, really, except to go to grad school. So
I went to grad school on the East Coast, so I was slightly adventurous.
Knew you were going back.
Yeah, that's true.
So
that's true. So how long have you been selling on eBay, Alison?
I was trying to think about that. I've had an account since 2004, and I didn't do much selling. So I think that I seriously got selling on a part-time basis probably 5 years ago.
Okay.
You know, I was still working at that time, and yeah, I always loved it. I thought one day I will do this.
And so are you full-time now?
I am, yeah. Because of my work visa, I decided to get permanent resident status, and they didn't mesh up by about, maybe 6 weeks. So I had to go to my employer and say, listen, this is what's going on. They're like, you can't work right now. And I'm like, okay, see you later.
So I guess the decision was made for you.
It was, in a sense, but I wasn't, I really wasn't too unhappy about it. I mean, the benefits and stuff, working at a hospital, it was a great job. I loved it. And did EEGs and EKG and did pulmonary rehab with patients and things like that. But, and I really did like it, but it was time to go anyways. I think it just worked out.
Yeah, I think things tend to work out the way that they're supposed to for a reason. It's just sometimes the journey's kind of crazy to get there.
Mm-hmm. It's true.
Absolutely. Yeah. And like I said, one day I'll do this full time because I just love it. So, and it's all worked out very well. So nice. I'm happy. Yeah.
Very cool. So I follow you on Instagram. I think Vikki does too. Yep. And we both noticed that you find like the coolest stuff in Alaska. And I think we were talking last week, like I never would have thought that Alaska was like a good place to thrift.
Awesome.
What's it like there? Like what kind of stores do you have? I mean, what's the deal?
We have the town that I live in is called Kenai, and it borders another city called Soldotna. So it's small, and it's known for salmon fishing, big time. And I'm about an hour from Homer, which is the halibut fishing capital of the world. So, and it is beautiful. So there's a big river that runs through here, and we are I think it's probably a community of maybe 60,000, maybe a little bit more. In the summer, it probably triples, maybe more.
Oh wow!
It's just like overrun. Yeah. But anyway, so here we have 2 Salvation Armies, one in Kenai and one in Soldotna. And we also have a thrift store called the Bishop's Attic, and there's another one called Bargain Basement, and it's a huge store. It's pretty much a hodgepodge. It's almost dirty, And
those are the best ones, though.
I don't know. They're pricey. They're spendy. So I tend to stick with Bishop's Attic. because the prices are excellent, and they do a bag sale, like a grocery bag sale every Tuesday, Friday, Saturday. So you could fill a bag for $7.
Nice.
And yeah, pretty amazing.
That's a good deal. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So
Salvation Army does that here on Sundays. It's $12 a bag, and it's anything left over from their 99-cent color tag of the week or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But by the end of the week, there's there's not a whole heck of a lot left. So
yeah, and I haven't done it lately, but I'll volunteer there, so they know me quite well, and I'm
building relationships that help.
Yeah, so
cool.
That's what I do. So I find some amazing stuff, like vintage workwear for the most part. And
you find some really cool vintage workwear.
Your stuff is fantastic. I have to say. I mean, I don't know if you're ready to almost jump into this thing.
No, not quite yet.
All right.
But I'm sure you find like Filson there and like
not enough Filson, but Woolrich, big time, Pendleton, Filson. I do find it, but I think people realize good quality and hang on to it. So I'm luckier with that stuff at a garage sale, and our garage sale season is very short. Although once it gets going, it's every day of the week. People run garage sales.
Yeah, that's great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but it's fast and furious for that stuff. But
one time I found a vintage. I don't even think it was worn at all. It was like a vintage Filson coat at the bins. So I paid like maybe a few bucks for it because it was 99 cents a pound. It was a green, like one of those like forest. Oh, it was beautiful. It was like one of my favorite finds ever. I love that kind of stuff.
I'm not even familiar with that brand. I don't think I've ever found.
It's like higher. It's higher up. It's more desirable than probably Pendleton or Woolrich.
If it's nice quality, I probably would.
It's excellent quality.
Anyway,
it is like
if you saw it, you would pick it up. But that I'm telling you, like you want that. So that's one of the saddest parts about probably the only downside about being in Vegas is when I was in Oregon, I would find cool Pendleton stuff all the time. And here it's like, there's no Pendleton.
Well, like there's not a lot of wool.
I know.
Right. No, I find Pendleton a lot, but a lot of it I will pass by because it's not the style. Like the board shirts, I'll definitely pick up, especially if they're in a bigger size. And because vintage clothing, as you know, fits smaller. So even a large is more of a medium. So if I can find like a double, extra large, I'm on it. So and that stuff sells like
it's all about the board shirts and some of those jackets, like some of the coats go really well. But women's Pendleton,
sucks. It's
pretty much. Although you have like a really cool like women's Pendleton, like kind of shirt, almost jacket in your store that doesn't really look like a women's one, but because of the way it's buttoned. And I'm like, man, if that was men's, that would have sold probably forever ago.
Absolutely, I know which one you're talking about because I love that one. I'm like, are you kidding me? This is like awesome. If it fit me, I probably would have kept it, but I really can't. That's the other thing. Anytime I find a really cool Pendleton, I'll like, hey, Casey, check it out. She's like, thank you. I'm like, fuck. Pardon my French, but I'm like, I can't. I have to hide stuff. And then she'll, I've taken over the garage. So that's my office. So a lot of times I'll have to.
You have to stash it.
I have to.
It's the same with me. Like, stuff if she has something.
She does that. She steals my stuff. Actually, the worst one is really my assistant, Dana. The worst one. I love her dearly. But yeah, if I have something super cool that fits her, she's like, yep, nope, I want it.
Yep.
And she doesn't steal it, but I feel I would always give it to her because of course I paid like $2.
I look at her real sad.
Yeah, she tries to give me the puppy dog eyes.
As if I'm not going to give it up. It's not worth it,
I know, right?
Yeah. So yeah, I'm like, here you go.
So do you find are there other resellers that you've noticed like thrifting around your area?
No, not really. There are some. There's one couple that I know, but I think that they mostly do garage sales. Like they'll buy stuff and run a garage sale, or I don't know how they're doing that stuff. But it's interesting. I'll go to the post office and I'll see other packages going out from an eBay seller. So I'm like, I wonder who this is, and I try and figure it out. And then I'll be like, who's this? And I'll see the name on it, Shalom, and that's my this gal that works for me. She does my listings for pants because I hate pants.
Oh, hey,
I don't hate pants. I said I just like listing them is a drag. Taking pictures of them, I don't like either. I have a bin, and that's what I have to get out to today. So, and she does the same thing. She'd be like, "Hey, these shorts, or these pants, or whatever it is, they're," and she's got good taste. So I'm like, man. But I'm like, of course you can take them. So I pay her in clothing, and I'll find really cool women's clothing, and she likes that stuff. And she'll actually tweak it and do sewing and different things. So I'm like, all right.
Oh, that's
so
cool.
I
See,
basically,
that's where I wish I had any sewing talent whatsoever. I'm none. I can barely sew a button.
Well, one thing
So
you can do is you can do like a really generic search for just like random clothing items. And then you can like filter the results by location, and you'll get to see how much stuff is really being sold like in your area.
Yeah, I suppose. I just never really thought about doing that because it's kind of, I feel it's an untapped market for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm happy.
Do you have any trouble at all sourcing enough stuff?
No, I have
That's
a death
rough.
pile and I have an after death pile. So I'm good. I'm good. And I don't know, recently
Nice.
I had, friends of mine gave me a bunch of inventory from a hobby store. So it's all these vintage remote control car parts.
I saw that. I saw that you've
Like,
been listing them and selling them like crazy.
Yeah, 3 bins of them. And I had them for a while. And I'm like, with summer coming down, the summer slow down. I know people are like, oh, there's no such thing. It's like, there is. It just slows down. I mean, I slow down, people slow down. Depends on what you're selling. And so I'm thinking, okay, well, remote control cars, that's a summer thing, being outside. Yeah. So I'm like, this is what makes sense to me. So I should get on this. So that's what I started doing. And I'm like, man, I wish I would have done this sooner, but it's the right time right now. So
you're sitting on a few bins of like a gold mine pretty much with those things.
Yeah. Multiples, lots of little parts and pieces. So everything's in Japanese on these packages. Well, except for the numbers, it says, this is number X7023 for 41. I'm like, I don't know what that means, but
thank God for Google.
Yeah, exactly. So it works out. So I'm still working on it. So I've kind of gone through a lot of the stuff thinking, all right, this is a bigger piece, and the original price tag on it is $12.99. So that's a higher priced item in that bin. So, and that stuff goes for $50, I figure.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
So, yeah. Or 35. I don't know. A lot of it, I have to just kind of go with my gut.
Yeah.
And I, started
you can't
off
find
with
comps, just wing it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is, So I will find similar, it's all different. People know what they're looking for. That's what I figure.
Yeah.
So
thank God. Yeah.
They'll know what I have. I don't know if it's a 1/10 size or 1/12 size for whatever size, RC car. There's all these.
Well, you're going to be an expert by the time you're done listing all that stuff. You could teach a remote control car parts course.
Yeah. But I have a lot of inventory. So, and I just started work. Well, maybe this is a question, but I've been trying out Macari, which has been really good, actually. Strangely
enough, I haven't
jumped
into that at all, but
I've never been on it. I've never even looked on it.
It's hard to find the time to do the other stuff. And I really do need to focus on getting more stuff on Etsy, but yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's really easy to get sucked into just doing one thing all the time. So.
I just don't feel like I have enough time to branch into another thing unless I could afford a full-time assistant to help me. And at this point, I'm not ready to go full-time actually with an assistant. I had cut my friend Dana's hours down a ton last year, unfortunately, but it's great for her because it forced her to open her own store and get moving, and she's making far more money for herself
she's killing it
than she was working for me. So she still thankfully helps me out one day a week doing pictures, which I need desperately. But if it's really more as a favor to me, I think, because she certainly could make more money doing it for herself at this point. I just don't want her to leave me because she's so good. So, I would love to have more time to devote to other platforms. Etsy, my Etsy store hasn't had an addition to it in a year. It's just sitting there.
Mine too.
Yeah. So.
But if you can handle eBay with all its ins and outs and how it works, these other platforms are so easy.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. Yeah, that's what I've heard.
It's like, is that it? We're done? And it's like half the time you take a picture and it automatically gives you a title.
Wow.
It recognizes what you're selling. So I'm just like, holy cow, it's.
I mean, a lot of the people who are kind of more successful selling online do tend to have multiple platforms that they're working on. And I know I definitely need to do some more work on some of the other platforms.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm going to cut over real quick and do a little spiel here about our sponsor. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. So as you guys probably know, if you remember, we do have a sponsor, and our sponsor is Sizely. And Sizely is a super awesome website that you can use to get templates for showing measurements on different clothing items and accessories. I've been using Sizely for over 2 years now. I put it on all of my things. I pretty much only list clothing. So I use it on virtually every single listing that I do. I've loved it and been using it for a long time. And then they recently, a couple months ago, did go to a paid site. But I think the pricing is actually really good.
It's really reasonable.
Yeah, it's like I use the pro level, which is like, other than getting like a custom business level account, I have the highest level, and it's $8 a month, or if you sign up for the whole year, it's $7 a month. But I mean, $8 a month, you're getting unlimited templates. I'll show you. Let's see let me get to my account here. The templates, like I have over 100 templates, so it's pretty much everything that I could possibly need. They've got men's wear, women's wear. Victoria always yells at me for going too fast to make people sick. Tops, bottoms, jackets. What I think is really cool about the paid one now is now they have underwear, they have dresses, they have kids'
Who needs
clothes.
their underwear measured? Can someone please tell me? Do you not know your underwear size?
I
Who
don't
needs
know.
it measured?
I don't know.
Okay.
Anyway, and kids, they got shoes. I'm hoping that they're going to get men's shoes added to this at some point. They've got glasses. They've got accessories. I think this is really cool if you ever have to list a belt or even a cap. Baseball hats can be really hard to like measure, or know where to measure. So it's really nice because the template tells you exactly where you can measure. You can show both inches and centimeters, and then you just put that right in your listings. You put it as a photo, which is what I do. They have gloves, they have all kinds of stuff. So this is just a really good way to demonstrate to your buyers exactly what the measurements are. Hopefully it'll help cut down on potential returns. I don't know, it's just a really cool service, and they are sponsoring our show. So if you want to check them out, they do have a free level. Go ahead and use the link that I put down in the description of this video and try them out, because they're super cool. And I think maybe Eddie's talking about, he's the guy that started Sizely. I think he's talking about trying to, at the very least, attend eBay Open. I don't think that he's going to have a booth, but he's talking about attending. So I'm hoping that we're going to be able to meet him there, because I do think it's a really awesome service. I love that they're our first sponsor. I do get a little something when people sign up, of course, that's how sponsorships work. But I've been talking about Sizely since the beginning because I believe in it. It's a good resource to have.
I really have to get behind. Every week I say I'm going to get on this because I'm just a creature of habit, and it will change my habits in listing. And I'm lazy. It's really it. But today I'm doing it. Today I'm doing it when I list this afternoon, because I have a bunch of clothes that I've got to learn how to do it. So Katie's going to teach me.
Yes, I'm going to teach her. It's pretty simple. Debbie Porter says that she has the pro level too, and she thinks it's priceless for her listings. So that's pretty cool. Let's see, Violet Lemon. Otherwise, I like calling her the Violet Lemon. We haven't seen her for a while. It looks like she keeps missing the live show, but she's here today. Is there any type of fix for crumbling foam on a vintage trucker cap? And maybe Alison will have. I'm sure you've sold some trucker hats. What do you think? Have you dealt with that before?
I have that. I would stay away from them personally. I wouldn't.
Yeah.
I mean, unless it's got a really good graphic on it or something like that, then I would disclose that the foam is basically,
there's no
crumbling
fix.
away
There's no fix. I'm the same.
So
I've had a few. I'll list them, and if it's a really good graphic, I'll list them and it makes sense. But I won't. The best thing that I've said to do is to try to knock the foam out of it and leave the shell. Mm-hmm. Go outside, bang it against something hard, because that foam you do not want to. You don't want to inhale it.
Yeah, it's probably some asbestos based.
There's some really crappy stuff in there, so don't do it in your house. If you can, you can try to remove it, bang it out a little bit, even if you've got to slit the lining. Where if it's coming out a little bit as it is, if you need to slit the lining along the edge or along the seam to get it out, do that, and then just obviously disclose that that's what you've done.
If you're gonna leave it in, I would think put it in some sort of like plastic bag or something like that. When you ship it, and as long as they know, hey, it's gonna be falling apart when you get it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah. I don't know. I don't do hats anymore too, because like I have some hats listed, but like pants, I hate photographing and listing hats, even though really it's easy. I don't know. I just don't like it. And so if I don't like doing something, I know I'm not going to get around to it. So
they sit there.
Anyway, all right. So Alison, let's get started on this. I want to ask you first, why, because you volunteered to do this. what are your concerns, or why do you feel like you want somebody to look over your store? What are your thoughts about it right now?
Well, about it's been 2 months ago, my store came to like a complete stop, and I'm like, what is going on? So I was, I had called eBay pretty much every day. And then I'll just go into a backstory, because I had listed a CPAP mask, which you cannot do because it requires a prescription. But
I've done that exact same thing by mistake before.
And it was 2 years ago. So, I got the information as far as like, you cannot do this. You got the slap on the wrist. I'm like, okay, lesson learned. I get it. So I basically got an email from eBay, because I was like, I had called them, and there was actually a loophole with the CPAP mask, because you could sell to a reputable dealer that had the rights to sell this stuff, medical equipment. Mm-hmm. So I was asking questions, and they're like, oh, you know what? We got to fix that. That's a mistake on our end. So we're going to fix that. And I said, okay. And I never listed another CPAP mask. Then I got an email saying, we've taken down your listing. And I'm like, I don't have a listing, which I didn't. I didn't even have a draft. And we took down your listing from November of 2017. And I'm like, I listed this mask, which was taken down immediately, in 2016. Mm-hmm. So I don't know where this is coming from, but I don't know if there was any correlation or anything like that. But my store just, and when I called up, it's like, I see you're in restricted status. Let me get someone to help you. The automated messages. And I'm like, what the heck? This is not true. So, and then I would talk to someone on eBay. They're like, no, everything's fine. I see your listings. I see your store. No, you're not in restricted status, nothing like that. And I'm like, this is weird. So, and I was literally on the phone every day and without any answers. And of course, I've got a supervisor. They're very nice. I will personally look after this. They say, I will, email you and let you know what's going on. I've never received an email. I never received anything for them saying, we're going to look after you and this and that. I'm not slagging on eBay. That's not my point. But I'm like, this is something happened, and I don't know what it was. But I'm just recovering now. I don't have a lot of listings, as you know, but so my sales aren't, I don't get a lot of numbers in sales. I'll get a few sales on eBay a day between the two stores. And so anyways, I guess everything just stopped. So and I'm not sure why. So what I just explained, is that why? I don't know. So I was thinking maybe it's, a problem on another end. So that's why you can go ahead and give me your feedback, and maybe there's something I totally missed.
Okay. It sounds like I think your headphones are making a little bit of noise.
I think it's your hair is just rubbing against your microphone.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
Flip your hair back over your shoulder.
Maybe that will help.
All right. Sorry about that.
No,
better.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's better.
Yeah.
Okay. Apologize.
So right now you have 368 active listings. Is that like a typical listing number that you have or have had over the last few months or so?
Yeah, pretty much. I am. Yeah, pretty much around the 300 mark, and I was able to put up more because I wasn't getting any sales.
Right.
So.
Well, so here's the thing. In just looking at your stores, you've got 368 active listings. I looked at what you've sold in the last 90 days, and you've sold 244 items. So first of all, you have a crazy high sell-through rate. So even if, that means if you're down from like a few months ago, like that's crazy, because you basically have a 22% sell-through rate. Like that really, is super high.
Really good.
Yeah. Like I'm at like
because
10.
You sell clothing and shoes primarily.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a fantastic. I think mine is 9 or 10%.
Yeah.
Something.
Mine's 10%.
12, maybe.
I think you're somewhere around there as well. Which is decent, especially because, we both sell kind of higher price stuff, but you have like a lot of like higher price stuff. You're not just selling like a bunch of like cheap things. And so your sell-through rate is crazy high. So first of all, I want to say like, that's amazing. Like whatever you're doing, I feel like you're doing it right, because that's a really good sell-through rate for how few listings you have.
Well, that's awesome. I didn't realize that. I thought it was shitty. So it was.
See, the most
I did.
When people sell clothing, primarily clothing and shoes, anything over 10% is really good. Most people have somewhere around a 6 to 8% sell-through rate when it's clothing and shoes. Mm-hmm. It's just because the market is so competitive. So basically what that means is that you're selling really good items. And that's the other thing too. Your products are your quality. Your stuff is good. You're a good picker. You have a really good eye. Everything you sell and every single thing in your store is really good. You don't have any junk. There's no fluff.
Yeah. So if anyone wants to check out Alison's store, I do have the link down in the description of this video. Again, it's called Big Drift Thrift. Violet Lemon says that's an amazing sell-through rate. Corduroy Fox says that is an insanely high sell-through rate. So
I'd kill for that kind of sell-through rate. Are you kidding me? Unless you're starting everything in auction at 99 cents, which is what someone else just said. Those are the only people that are going to have much higher sell-through rates, or people that price everything. You know, I'm going to sell this for $5. Every single thing, doesn't matter what the quality is. So if you're trying to get an actual profit and sell things, you know, to make money, that's a really good sell-through rate.
So Dorothy wants to know how you see your sell-through rate. So you don't see it; you have to do the math. So the way I do it is I go look at my solds for the last 90 days. So in Alison's case, it's 244 items sold in 90 days. You divide that by 3 to kind of get an average of like how many items per month were sold. And then you take that number and you divide by the total number of active items. And that's why I was asking if that was kind of a typical size of her store, because you divide that and you got to move the little point over to get decimal point over to get the percentage and 2 spots. And in your case, Alison, that came up to 22%. So that's basically like 20. By volume.
You know, you're between 20 and 25% really, because it's, you know, no one's ever, unless you're keeping super good track. You're not using an exact number. It's kind of like
it's just kind of an average, an idea of like what your average sell-through rate is. Okay, awesome. So let's go ahead and I'm gonna share your store, share the screen to show your store. And hold on a second here.
Your logo is really cute.
Yeah, I think your store looks awesome.
Oh, thanks.
This is another case of we had to really dig for stuff to kind of talk about in looking at your store. But I think that's a good thing because we're gonna be able to show people what a good store looks like, but we can also find things that you certainly can improve as usual.
Everybody can improve. Are you kidding me? I wouldn't want to put my own store up for review right now.
All right, so this is Alison's eBay store. Like right off the bat, I think you have awesome pictures. I will say, like I say to everybody, I really think that your store is going to look better when you make all of your main pictures square. So that's one thing I would say that I would do, but I don't think that like in any way drastically impacts your sales. It's just kind of a tip that I give most people. I just think it looks better.
eBay likes square photos.
But the quality of your photos, I think, are fantastic. What do you think?
No, I think they're excellent. Yeah, your pictures are really good. Your lighting's good. Your pictures are good.
I really look at that bag right there. Like that? That's a beautiful picture.
Really, everything you have in your store is high quality, high dollar amounts. Your stuff is really good.
Like seriously, I first looked at this
I have store envy. I have inventory envy.
Excuse me.
I first was looking at this and I'm like, wow, she's got a lot of really high priced stuff. And this is like when I was very first looking at it. And I was like, I wonder what her solds look like. And usually the way I'll do it, guys, is I'll go like I'm looking in the store right now. But what I'll do is I'll just click on the seller's name, and then I can look at it through this way, where I can see, okay, now 366 listings. That means I think you sold a couple things since the earlier. So then I could just go here and I click on sold listings, and I can see what the solds are. Now, I will tell everybody.
Sold the pantyhose.
What? I did. I told
Now I will tell everybody there's certain things that won't show up here. And that's like if you do replenishables. So if you have a listing that has like you have a bunch of high quantity of or whatever, and you sell one, it won't necessarily show up here. So this is best used if you are somebody who sells one-off items like we do. But anyway, so you can see the sold. So yeah, so I looked through the solds like, come on, 244 sold.
You had $28 for a pair of vintage pantyhose. That's a really high price for those because so many people sell them for 10, 12 with free shipping.
All right,
that's a good price.
Your hair and your jacket are jumping on that microphone again.
Let me see here. Maybe I'll just. All right, it might be the jacket getting in the way.
It might be. But anyway, when I was looking through this, I'm like seriously, look at those shoes. Those photos are amazing for these shoes.
Yep, remote control parts, 48. Like this, you've got some good prices. You're getting good prices on things. Really, you are.
Absolutely, and $30 for
a t-shirt.
A t-shirt. You know how I feel about my vintage t-shirts. So I think that's pretty cool. So you clearly find good stuff. You're getting premium prices for everything.
Well, I just jumped. I'm sorry to interrupt you. Those T-shirts, somebody bought 2, and I sold them each for like $12 or something like that. So this is, there's things that, because I do have best offer on.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So just to let you
Still,
know.
Even still, not bad.
Yeah, totally. My other thing I would say about pictures is, and this is just my preference, like I think it looks better, is having your main picture be closer up. You don't necessarily have to show the entire product in your main photo. But your pictures are so good. But, I just like for a t-shirt, like I usually zoom in and I'm going to make sure the graphic, you can see the graphic, but you don't necessarily need to see the entire t-shirt. And it's going to, when you're looking at a page of results, when somebody does a search and they see a page of results, you want your item to stand out the most. And so as you can see, because you're not using a square picture, you've got like blank white space on the sides. Whereas if you squared that up, zoomed in, you would fill out that whole section of real estate that eBay gives you for a photo. And it's just going to stand out a little bit more. So maybe that will help, get a little bit more views and more sales. But again, it's like, this is kind of to a certain degree, we're nitpicking because you do have excellent photos
and excellent
compared
products.
to the very vast majority of people. When you look at listings and pictures on eBay, yours are up at the top as far as quality goes. So I don't know, I think it looks pretty good. What's your photo setup like? Like, what are you using to take your pictures? Where are you doing it? What's that look like for you?
So I have my garage set up. So basically I have 2 6-foot tables, put together, and I have the white backdrop, the white paper, like a roll of paper. That instead of a curtain, the lighting kits that they give you, or that when you buy a lighting kit. So I have a lighting kit. I have 2 of the boxed lights, and instead of a curtain on the the backdrop, I put the paper. And I roll it down across the table. So I have a table set up. So basically these pictures are the t-shirts, for instance. It's a torso. So the torso sits flat on the table. And I just have the 2 box lights set up, and I've added a small light to the very top with a filter on it. So
these pictures look great.
Yeah.
And
I do take them. I do take the pictures on my iPhone in the square mode. So I guess I always thought I was taking them square.
No, it's
I think some of them look like they're square. Like
look at
let's see, shoes. Like these boots right here. That's definitely a square photo. This is a square photo. So I don't know if it's like older pictures, but you can see that these ones, it looks like they're like a 3:4 ratio.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm sure it says 1-to-1 ratio.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
that's all. Yeah. That's how you get the square. So it's not all of them are not square. So some of them may be just older, or who knows.
Yeah.
Like that's a good listing. Her cream, that's a good photo because she's showing the front.
Yep. See, and I do this.
That's good.
I do stuff like this too, where I will go in and put a couple.
I don't even know how to do that.
Not always, but occasionally when I feel like it's warranted and I want to get something sold, I will do that. Look at that sweet fanny pack, you guys. I love it.
I sold one yesterday too.
Awesome. All right, let's talk about titles. Overall, your titles look good. Victoria and I have a little bit of a disagreement. Personally, I like having consistency in my titles. Like I have a certain format that I do for my titles where it goes brand, and then like I'll say brand, and I think I do put men's in mine, and then I say what the actual thing is. So it might be like Pendleton men's board shirt, vintage 70s. Like I have a certain way that I do mine. Vikki doesn't think that really matters, but again, we're just nitpicking here.
Yeah, I mean, I front load my titles like we talked about, like with the keywords, or I try to. I'm sure you can look through my store and find 100 plus that are not appropriate. So before anyone nitpicks me, believe me, I know I don't go in and change my titles. So I have crap in there that's old, but I always put vintage or VTG just like you do. I'll spell it out if I have room in the title, and I abbreviate it if I don't. So I think your titles are great. The only thing that I would change on any of them is a couple of them you have some hyphens where you've like hyphenated, or you have some type of symbol in the title. There are not many, maybe like a handful I saw. eBay in general, the search engine does not like hyphens, apostrophes, that kind of thing. So it can mess up how you find it. I mean, even men's and women's with the apostrophes, they say not to use them.
Yeah, I stopped doing that actually.
Yeah, I don't use apostrophes anywhere.
So that's literally my only thing. Even like where you have like vintage 90s, I would take the apostrophe out. I would just put 90s, you know. But I mean, like she said, that's being really nitpicky, but I don't think that in any way infringing on your sell-through or your sales right now. I really don't. I just think you'll give yourself a couple more characters in the title.
Right.
And try to a few of them, you have your size a little bit too far down in the title. I think the size needs to be closer to the front of the title, just because.
See, I put my size at the end, so
yeah. And I mean, it's the only reason I say to keep it toward the front is because when you're looking at it on a mobile friendly listing, you only see half of the title. So unless they've already filtered to be in the correct size category, because I shop on my mobile all the time. I don't list on my mobile, but I shop on it. So I know what I'm looking at. And I know if I can't see the size, I've got to click on the item, and half the time I'm just going to scroll past it if I can't see the size, if I haven't already gone in and filtered by size. So just a suggestion.
Like, I could not believe the stuff that you thrift up there.
Yeah.
It is just nuts. Like,
fantastic stuff, really. I mean, we may need to.
Do you have a spare bedroom?
I was going to say, we're going to invite ourselves. We're going to invite ourselves.
Yeah. You'll be sharing with some twins.
With some
kids. Yeah. No, we have lots of room.
We like the kid. We like it. I like kids.
Oh,
anyway.
We'll come when it's warm there. We'll stay in a tent. Well, no, she probably won't.
Actually, I have a tab trailer I pull behind my Subaru, so you can stay in that.
There you go. See, we're inviting ourselves to come and thrift in Alaska.
All right, there we go. See, you guys, it's all about networking. Okay, so the next thing I wanted to look at is.
Can I ask a question? Just
yeah,
real quick,
absolutely.
You mentioned the high. Okay, sorry to interrupt. So something like this kind of confused me when I list a Harley Davidson item, which clearly has a dash after, Harley dash Davidson. Am I to leave that out?
Yep.
I leave it out.
Okay. Yeah.
And here's the thing. That's one thing that I think eBay does a very good job at is their search accounts for that. So even if you search for Harley dash Davidson or Harley no dash Davidson, either way, it's going to show up in the search.
It'll show you both. But
just like vintage and VTG both show you anything that has the word vintage in them. So it does like a really good job. So yeah. Oh, my sister Binky's in the house, guys. Binky has joined us.
Shout out to Binky.
But yeah, so I just like to stay really consistent. So I leave out any kind of dashes or quotations or commas or anything like that, but it will show up in the search either way. So it really doesn't matter.
Yeah. I always put Harley Davidson spelled out. I just put a space. I don't put the dash, and then I'll usually put HD as well, because a lot of people search that way.
Yeah.
But again, it's like we said, it's really nitpicky. I really think your titles are great. I think your pictures are great. Your products that you're sourcing are great. You don't have fluff in there. You had a couple of lower end items in there, and I saw that you even doubled them up. I think it was a shirt listing that I saw last night. You had 2 shirts in a listing because they were kind of lower end on their own, which I can't remember what the brand was. But
I think they were J. Crew.
Yeah, which is perfect. It's exactly. I mean, you probably got them for pennies. So
yeah,
that's great.
All right, so let's get into the stuff where I actually do think there are places where you can improve. One of them is, I see that you have free shipping on some items, but not on other items. I get that you're in Alaska, so there's certain things that are going to cost a lot more for you to ship. But I'm seeing, like, I don't see why you wouldn't do free shipping on a T-shirt and just build that into the price, because obviously anything first class is going to cost the same whether you're in Alaska or Hawaii or Florida. So is there any reason why you don't have free shipping, or you're not doing that?
There is a reason. I actually, you can do the promotions and do a marked, like a 30% or whatever you want to choose, marked down, and you can offer free shipping. So I did that. I offered free shipping for a limited amount of time just to see how it would work. And after that promotion ended, my listings would show shipping was they would show the shipping charge, and then I would go into my if you're going to revise a listing, and it would show free shipping, which is, I'm fine with either. I just want them to match. And they did not match. And I had to take down every listing and relist it. So I waited to that was the end of April, I think. Yeah. So basically April 29th, I pulled 300 listings down and relisted them.
Oh, wow. Well, what about going forward? Would you be open to, this T-shirt, just like bumping the price up a little bit making them free listings.
Make it $25.99.
Any of those t-shirts, anything that goes into padded flat rate, of course, you know, that's going to cost you the same no matter where it's going. Because I do think that there are a certain percentage of people who do click on that free shipping button and then they're not seeing your listings. So.
It's also going to show up by best match. Best match generally accounts for shipping and your you know, your total price, actually, because that's how it normally defaults.
Yeah.
So I think anything, I mean, your big jackets, of course, and your boots, charge your shipping, because your shipping is going to be more, unless you can fit it into like a flat rate box. I think if you can fit the things in a flat rate box, maybe you want to put like a flat shipping cost. That's entirely up to you. That's going forward. But I think anything that you can do first class or fit in a padded flat rate mailer.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Bump your price up and keep it at free shipping, because that's just going to be one more thing that works in your favor.
I'm open to that, especially for first class items. Like
small stuff. I'm not saying your boots that weigh 5 pounds.
Yeah,
I mean,
you can't.
Your
obviously.
snow boots, ski boots, forget it. I mean, you have to do calculated. It is what it is. But you have such quality items, people are going to be willing to pay the shipping.
Now, the other thing I was looking at is you have standard shipping here. I would suggest changing that to first class, because first class does have a tiny bit shorter window for delivery. I mean, I know because you're in Alaska, you're probably never going to fit in that guaranteed within 3 days. It does show here guaranteed by Tuesday. So like if you go back, you can see all of these do have guaranteed delivery dates on them. But if you switch over this guaranteed 3-day delivery, you have 0. At least for t-shirts. Let me see if any of them fall within. Yeah, so it's not going to. But that's, I mean, you can't really change the fact that you live in Alaska. But I would go ahead and at least moving forward, maybe choose first class as opposed to standard, because I believe first class is a shorter period. And then the other thing is, even when you have free shipping, first class, I would go ahead and add additional shipping options, especially because you're in Alaska. Give people the option to pay $7 to have expedited shipping. Give them the opportunity to pay an extra $23 if they want to do express shipping. I do have people do that sometimes. They'll pay more to ship faster. And particularly, like I said, because you're a little bit further away, people might be willing. I mean, you have such cool stuff. And because you have like really cool, unique, like especially vintage stuff that you're selling, there's going to be some dude out there in Florida who sees something and he wants it now. But it's going to take forever for it to get to him, whatever. Let him pay to have it get to him faster.
It's just a matter of going into your shipping policies and creating it as a policy. And frankly, you can go in and bulk edit once you create the policy and change your shipping policies if you want to. So it's not like you have to go into every single listing and make the change individually. So you can create 1 or 2 more shipping policies, like the free shipping on the lighter weight items. Create the shipping policy, and then you can go into your listings and bulk edit, and then just check off the ones you want.
Yeah.
To do that, and you can change it. It'll take you probably 10 minutes,
as
opposed to going into every single listing. And if you have a question about how to make those shipping policies, just send a message to Katie. She's really good at it.
Yeah, that's something I just started. I just looked at it, and I did done one. And I'm a little confused on it, but I mean, I'm like, what am I'm missing this altogether? So I should.
Yeah, it confuses me too, to be quite honest. It does, and she's had to help me change a few myself. So
when you first look at them, it's like all over the place. Okay, so I have a question for you. You said you have death piles and you have after death piles. Do you list every day?
Yes,
okay.
I do.
That's good.
It may only be a couple, but every day. I want to say yes very much, but
you said you have 5 kids. I mean, come on now.
Casey's a kid. She's, like I said, she's a bit younger than me, but she's not my kid. She's not my kid. She could be, but so no, 4 kids. But yeah, that keeps me busy because Casey does work full time, and their dad does take them, but a lot of the people that work up here work in the gas and oil field, and there's times of the year where they do it. Let's call it a turnaround. So basically, they shut everything down, they test it, and then they run and they start it back up again. But they don't take any time off. It's basically you do the job till it's done. So you will get maybe 1 day off out of 12 or something like that, or 10, whatever's legal, I suppose.
So you're doing the bulk of you're doing the bulk of the day-to-day stay-at-home mom stuff. So
absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
That's 4 kids. That's no joke. We don't have kids. You know what I mean? Like I have a kid, but she's 25 and she doesn't live at home. So
yeah, I saw the picture of your twins. They're super cute, but I bet they can be pretty rotten sometimes too, right?
Yeah. They're, I'll go into the garage, like, girls, where will I be? And they both say it at the same time, in the garage. And I'm like, okay, cool. They know where I am. So, and within 3 minutes, one of them comes in, Reagan threw it yesterday was Reagan threw a dolphin at my head and she got a big old lump and she did throw it up and and then I'm like, what is going on? Like so it's nonstop. You can't, you just think I'm going to get some listing done. It's like,
yeah,
no,
I hear you.
No, you're not. And I'm like, they don't start school till 10 o'clock in the morning and they get out at 2:45. I'm like, what is wrong with a full day of school? What is
what happened?
I'm like, right? Take my kids, please take them. But next year will be first grade and they'll be starting at, pretty early. So whatever the time that is. So anyways, it's
all
coming.
kids can be rotten.
Well, here's the thing. So anybody who works on eBay, there's a million different things that you have to do to get like a quality listing. I think that you are relatively there. There's a couple of very, very small things that we suggest that you do to improve your listings, but overall you're doing pretty well. You clearly you do. I saw that you do international sales. I see that you do take advantage of promoted listings. You run sales. You're doing pretty much everything that you could possibly do. So once you kind of get past that point where it's like, okay, clearly you know what to source, you know how to list them. What it comes down to for you and pretty much probably for most people selling is numbers. It's like, it's all about how many listings you have. You have just over, you have 368 active items. Can you imagine what you would be doing if you had 1,000 active items? So that's really what it all comes down to, is that you need to get your numbers up if you want to see more sales. Because like I said, you have a crazy good sell-through rate.
You're doing great. Your sell-through rate is great. That means you're buying good things at good prices and you're doing it well. So,
and apparently you're sitting around on not just one death pile, but an after death pile. So you have like crazy amounts of money just like sitting around your house right now. And it really comes down to getting those numbers up.
I have a couple more things that I noticed. So quick question. You're familiar with making the listings mobile friendly, or are you familiar with making them mobile friendly?
and I do that.
Okay. That's not something I could see by looking at your store.
Oh, I looked them up. They look good on the listings. Yep.
So that was my only other thing to ask, to make sure that you're doing that. And then looking at your store itself, you're okay now because you only have the 300 and something listings, but I strongly suggest breaking your store into more categories.
Yes.
Categories and subcategories, because you have everything right now mostly in menswear. Yeah, that's what you're selling. Menswear or other. That's bad. So if you want someone to come into your store and stay in your store specifically and maybe look because they like your listings, because I look at your listings and I look at your Instagram posts and I follow you. So I'm going to be like, hey, you've got some cool stuff. Right. So if I'm going to come to your store and maybe be a repeat buyer, I don't get a lot of repeat buyers because I sell a lot of, almost everything I sell is a one-off, and it's so many different categories that I just really don't have a following like that. But you really could. You, like Katie, sell very kind of a specific genre of stuff. So you might get someone that wants to come in and look at, all your vintage outerwear, or so a lot of your flannels or whatever. So creating those subcategories, I know it's a pain in the neck, but once you do it, you're not going to have to do it again. Yeah. So.
And my categories are pretty generic. I mean, you have just menswear, but I mean, all mine.
I have a lot.
Mine breaks out more to, it's like men's jackets, men's shirts, men's pants, men's shoes, men's accessories.
So that's
all I have.
I have men's. I do outerwear. I do pants, and then I subcategorize pants by waist size because I have a lot of pants. I do sweaters. I do sweatshirts. I do vests. I do shoes, and then the shoes I go by size.
Yeah.
All for men's and women's. You don't necessarily have to go that far deep, but I think that that's something that you want to look into doing now while you still have a few, because it's a lot easier to go in and put them in the right categories now with 300 and something than it will be at 1,000.
So am I building listings and then, or building templates and then putting them in the proper
You don't even need to have a template. When you go in and you do your listing and you choose the category on eBay that it goes into, you're going to have, and you're already doing it because you're going somewhere else. It's going to say store category, and it's just going to be a drop down. So when you're doing your listing, you're just going to drop down.
Because you've already created your.
You've done it because you have a few.
You have some, but yours is just like menswear and women's wear.
Yeah. It's just
so you just need to add more categories and start moving stuff over into those categories.
Yeah, when you're doing a listing, you can go in and hit and create category. When it says store categories, you can hit create or add or something like that.
Okay.
So just go in and do that in the listings that are already there or as you're going forward. And then what you can do is you just go in and revise your listing, and then you can choose a different store category to stick it in once you have a category.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's really not that difficult, but I think that'll make a difference. And I mean, I would definitely do it now as opposed to waiting until you have more listings, because it will take you a little bit of time. You do have to do it one at a time, revise the ones that are there, but you know, work on, I don't know, 10, 20 a day or something like that.
All right.
Yeah,
I can do that.
That's cool. Literally those were my only notes that I took by looking at your store last night, was the square photos, set categories and subcategories, and then the no hyphens or symbols in the titles. And then the other thing, if you want to go to her store and look at the store description.
All right, let's go share this again real quick.
And again, like I said, click on the door.
Let me click on let me get over to the
whatever. Okay. So right where you have
this right here?
Yep. That one or the other one where you had the other page too. Either one. Use that banner at the top.
This right here.
Yep. To put as much as possible in there to describe your store, because those are searchable terms that can bring people to your store.
Okay.
And not necessarily in eBay itself, but in like Google. Okay. Yeah. So if you go to if you want to show my store, just to show an example, you know, so if you click on, right there, use a lot of keywords, put the stuff that you sell. I don't hashtag it or anything like that. You could, I mean, I put it into sentences so it doesn't just look like gobbledygook, but I mean, I put in a bunch of things that I sell, you know, pin up, rockabilly, vintage, little black dresses, you know, silver tab, Jams World, Converse, whatever, all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Just to have the words there. It's just one more searchable thing.
Mm-hmm. I didn't realize it was searchable. That's a good point, or a good tip rather. Thank you.
Karen says that Vikki and I talk over each other sometimes.
We suck. Sorry.
We both have a lot to say, guys.
We're not professionals. And we both talk a lot.
Speak for yourself. All right. So coming down, let's wrap this up. I would say, like, as far as like an actionable tip for you, Alison, I would say set some goals for listing and fourth quarter. I'm sure you know like how sales do jump up in the fourth quarter. Usually that starts towards the end of September, middle to the end of September, October, November, December is when sales get really, really crazy. And you have, like I said, amazing stuff. And I've noticed that like, it doesn't matter if it's used or new. Some people think like, oh, if you have new items, you're going to sell more because people aren't going to buy used as gifts. That's crazy. People buy everything. It's like fourth quarter, people go crazy and decide they just want to spend money like just bananas.
And all I sell, 99.9% of what I sell is used, and I still have crazy sales in fourth quarter. So yeah. So
I would maybe set a couple of, like, don't just have one big goal, but maybe set a few goals like over the next few months, but maybe have like a big goal where maybe by, I don't know, October 1st, you hit 1,000 listings in your store. Because I'm telling you, if you can get to 1,000 listings by fourth quarter, you will end your year on a crazy high note. And because you've got your performance in your store is great. You've got great items. Like really the only thing holding you back from making more money is how many listings you have.
Yeah.
That's really it.
Okay. And I think if we were to give a store grade, I would say you have like an A- already. So honestly, it's a good store, and I'm just making up that arbitrary thing because it's not like I've ever graded anything like that. But really, I mean, on A to F, you're at an A-, maybe a B+.
Awesome.
But, I mean,
that's the first A I've ever got.
So I hope all the rest of you out there got something out of this, and to see like, you know, everybody has room for improvement. But bottom line is, once you get your listings dialed in, you just need more of them. It's all about the numbers. You know, I don't know how many times I've heard people say, I don't know why I'm not selling anything. And then you finally get into the story and they've got like 50 listed items. You're like, you're not going to sell anything if you don't have anything listed. It doesn't, you know, you really have to have those numbers up. So again, like guys, go look at more of the stuff that Alison has in her store because she has the coolest stuff. Follow her on Instagram. I'll go and add the link to your Instagram in the description after we're done, because she really has like a cool, I like your Instagram, and you take,
I do too.
You not only do you take great photos for your listings, you take really cool photos for Instagram. And it's always fun. Like, I'm super jealous of the stuff that you get up there in Alaska. We really do need to go up there for a sourcing trip, because
you're
seriously.
welcome. Open invitation, you know.
I've never been to Alaska, so hey.
It is beautiful in the
on
summer.
The list.
Okay.
Well, how warm is it there during the warm season?
The warmest it will get is probably 80 degrees. And,
all right, that's
perfect.
You know, 75. Now it's, you know, it usually gets the height of the afternoon or in the summertime is around 3 p.m., believe it or not, because it's light right till midnight. So it's weird. And it's it's a lot of fun in the summer because it's your day is huge, like so long rather. And, you know, you're like, wow, I'm doing all this stuff. I'm having fun. It's like, oh, you know, I haven't even had dinner yet. What time is it? It's like 10 p.m. It's like, oh my gosh, you're totally turned around, but in a good way. So it is, it's a lot of fun, but it cools down. The mornings are cool and the evenings are cool, but, you know, about 3 p.m. in the afternoon, it can get pretty hot. Yeah. Some people they enjoy it. The weather's good in the summer, but it's just it's such a short season.
Yeah.
But it is
Florida
a beautiful place.
Invited herself. Apparently, she's coming with us to Alaska at some point.
Yeah,
yep.
It's pretty cool. You dig it.
We'll camp in
sure.
your backyard. It's okay.
You can. We got a trampoline too. You can.
Oh, all right.
Oh, hey, I'll just lay on the trampoline.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah.
All right, Alison, thanks for coming and being on the show. Thanks to everybody out there who is watching. I really appreciate it. And again, it is Boss Up and List Day, guys. So get back in the Boss Facebook group. Let us know how you're doing so far, and then get back to listing. And again, thank you so much. And Boss Up. Bye.
Bye.